Hari Om. Namaste to all the viewers to this national webinar series on Yoga Ramayana Vishwakosha history. In today's session, we have a renowned PhD scholar, Dr. Divya Keshavamurthy ji with us to speak on medicinal plants in Ramayana.
And welcome to this Yoga Ramayana Vishwakosha History of Ramayana, celebrating the Ramayana through this 108 days webinar. Valmiki Ramayana has been studied for religious, social, political, geographical, literary, and cultural points of view. The epic is divided into 7 kandas and about 500 sargas. The epic, through its storyline, depicts the duties of different relationships, portraying the ideal characters like the ideal husband, ideal father, ideal wife, ideal servant, ideal king, and so on. Ramayana as an epic should also be studied for its significant information related to botanical, zoological, architectural, meteorological, archaeological, and many more such fields. And today's session, I will be talking about the medicinal plants and the herbs that existed during the Ramayana period. The Ramayana epic indicates that medical profession already existed in those days, where court physicians were appointed for the health care of the royals. And Lord Rama traversed different parts of India, formerly as Uttarakhand, the northern, the Sundara, the foothills of the Himalayas, Balakand, the eastern, Ayodhya, the central India, Aranyakand, the forest of east, west, and the south India, during his sojourn of the 14 years exile. In present day, it is Uttar Pradesh through Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, and Karnataka, and up to Lanka beyond the sea. It is obvious that such a large chunk of territory would cover a wide range of botanical, both the biological and the non-biological phenomena. Medicinal herbs which are mentioned during his travels are recorded. In those times, plants were valued as lifesavers because they were mitigating the ills of the human beings. The characters of Ramayana had realized that there is no life possible without the contribution of the plant kingdom like food, fuel, shelter, fiber, fodder, and the most important thing of life, the medicine. And hence, the plants were revered as God. If there is no plant, there is no medicine. In the Ramayana, the descriptions of forest reflect the supremacy of nature, and the forest is described as Shanta, that is calm, Madhura, that is sweet, and Raudra, the anger, and Vibhatsa or Bibhatsa, that is fearful, which reflect the four sentiments that dominate the entire forest environment. In the Ramayana, the Aranya Kanda, ashrams are described in many ways. It is described as abounding in tall, sacred trees with sweet fruit bearing trees and so on. The forest in Ramayana is also described as Aranya or Vana. But there is a distinction between these two terms. Vana is often used in the sense of a cultivated forest, while Aranya denotes for the wilderness of the forest. During Lord Rama's journey from Ayodhya to Sri Lanka, he came across four different types of forest in the Indian subcontinent, including Chitrakoot, which is a tropical deciduous forest. The Chitrakoot represents a tropical deciduous forest area. Dandakaranya. Dandakaranya is an area where it had tropical deciduous forest. Panchavati, tropical dry deciduous. and Kishkinda dry and moist deciduous. Ashok Vatika, it is known as an evergreen forest where it is associated with Sita, and while Dronagiri, the alpine forest. These are the different kinds of forest that we can get to know while studying the epic Ramayana. In the first category, Chitrakuta and Panchavati falls for the Vana part. And for the Aranya part, Dandakaranya comes as a second description. Rama's first halt during his 14 years of exile is at Chitrakuta. And Chitrakuta is also known as Mahavana or the Great Forest. Chitrakoot is situated on the border of Chitrakoot district of Uttar Pradesh and Satna district of Madhya Pradesh. Mandakini, Valmiki, Gunta, Gedua, Chakra, Juri rivers drain these regions. The forest of Chitrakoot predominantly consists of tropical, dry, mixed deciduous type. And according to Ramacharit Manas, it is said that Lord Rama with consort Sita and younger brother Lakshman dwelt in Chitrakoot about 11 and a half years. This holy place has provided a spiritual inspiration and energy to many sages and dignitaries and has changed their attitude of life for many great saints. According to Ramacharit Manas, Chitrakoot hill has luxuriant vegetation of herbs, shrubs, trees, and climbers. Chitrakoot was very rich in respect of medicinal plants too. It is mentioned in Ramayana that there are thousands kinds of medicinal plants available in this region, which is expressed as night like flame of the lamp. The high value medicinal plants found in Chitrakoot forest are Pinospora cardifolia, which is also called as Guduchi, Giloy, or Amrita, where its root, stem, and leaves are used in Ayurvedic medicine. And this plant has antioxidant effect, and its usage benefits in boosting the immune system, the diabetes, and the high cholesterol. Another plant is cow plant, which is also called as Gurmar, Madhunashini, a herb native to the tropical forest of southern and central India and Sri Lanka. It has been used in Ayurvedic medicine, which means it is a sugar destroyer. One of the alternative medicine to both diabetes and obesity could be this Gurmar plant and its preparation. It is also known to have a very good effect for curbing of diabetes by blocking the sugar binding sites and not allowing the sugar molecules to accumulate in the body. Another plant that we could find in the Chitrakoot forest is chaff flowers, which is also called Uttarani, which is used in the treatment of cough, bronchitis, rheumatitis, malarial fever, dysentery, asthma, hypertension, and diabetes in the Indian folklore. Vanapalanadu, that is Eugenia indica, is an Ayurvedic herb that is used for the treatment of skin diseases, respiratory diseases, and dysmenorrhea. Golden eye grass, Kalo musli. In Nepal, it is called as Kalo musli or black musli, Kali musli. It is an endangered flowering plant species native to Nepal, China, and Japan, the Indian subcontinent. They use this treatment for sperm deformity, skin, and respiratory disorders. And this plant is also known as talamuli or musli. And in Ayurveda, it is used for these kind of disease control. In Siddha medicine, this is called as Neela Panai. The root tuber is used in the treatment of diabetes and several other diseases. Another commonly known plant is air potato, air yam or aerial yam or bitter yam. And this is a species of true yam used to lower the glycemic index, and therefore it provides better protection against diabetes and obesity. In the Ayurveda, it is known as Varahi Kanda, used for the treatment for diabetes, eczema, psoriasis, and intestinal parasites. Arjuna tree, a large evergreen tree with a spreading crown and drooping branches, helps control diarrhea, asthma, and cough. External application of Arjuna helps the Arjuna bark helps manage various skin disorders like eczema, psoriasis, itching, and rashes. And this Arjuna tree is also known for its amazing heart tonic, and it is also seen as a cardioprotective herb. There is another plant known as Salparni. I am not using the botanical names for, I'm using the common names for to see that to feel that people get to know the names very quickly and they could identify that tree and the plant as well. In Ayurveda, it is considered as one of the Dashamula, which is useful in balancing the Tridosha and relieving the burning sensation. Ivy gourd or Kovakai, as it is known in Tamil, Tindora in Hindi, it is a tropical plant belonging to the pumpkin family. And this is classified as a herb in Thai and the Ayurvedic medicine. The parts used in diabetes treatment are its leaves. Ivy gourd contains beta carotene, a major vitamin A which is essential for good eyesight, and vitamin C which helps prevent common cold and the flu. It is also considered as a good source of protein and fiber. In traditional medicine, the fruits have been used to treat leprosy, fever, asthma, bronchitis, and jaundice. Patala in Ayurveda is one among the Dashamula herbs that is also found in Chitrakoot forest, which is used in snakebite, scorpion bite. It is used for its neuroprotective and hepatoprotective benefits. Rama's next halt was at Dandakaranya, where he constructed an ashram. The forest of this name is situated in parts of present days Madhya Pradesh, Odisha, and Andhra Pradesh. The name owes its origin to the demon Dandaka who once lived there. Another origin could be because of a danda plant, Dandatrina, a type of long grass which flourished in this region. Danda also means rows of trees. Important plant species found in this forest are darba, the sacred grass, and this is used in the treatment of diarrhea, improving breast milk during lactation. In the case of eczema, the paste of the kusha root is applied over the affected area. It treats the burning micturition and is used for treating the thirst. This is also used as a mat for sitting and sleeping, as its grass acts as a coolant and has a protective action against the radiations. Maduka is another tree that is found in Dandakaranya. It is also called as Indian butter tree. The flowers, the seeds, and the seed oil of this Maduka has a great medicinal value. In Ayurveda, it is used for treating skin diseases, nerve disorders, and the oil extracted from its seed is good for skin disease treatment. Shala or the sal tree. And this sal tree is actually believed to be the house of tribal goddesses and is valued as a holy tree. It has religious, medicinal, and as well as commercial significance, and its wood is used even in the furniture industry. Sal is generally used to prevent diarrhea and dysentery due to its astringent property. It is used as an astringent in the Ayurvedic medicine. Burned as incense in the Hindu ceremonies and used as cork boats and ships. Sal seeds and fruit are a source of lamp oil and a vegetable fat. The sal tree was the home of a wise and ancient spirits. And as per ancient Indian literature, Shaurya robusta is considered as a holy tree and is said to be the favorite of Lord Mahavishnu, and which is commonly known as Indian Damar. It is used in Ayurveda, Unani, and tribal systems of medicine, having many medicinal properties. And it is valued mostly for its ability to stop bleeding files and provide relief to the patient. The bark, the leaves, the fruit, the resin of Shoria are used in the medicinal preparation. The resin is burned as incense, and the fumes thus obtained are said to have a good medicinal value. Shoria ointments are for skin troubles, breast enhancement, for bleeding piles, and these are even now, as it is used for commercial purposes, it is available at herbal stores. It is not just for that, it is also used as a natural remedy for diabetes, nervine pain, arthritis, burns, ulcer, jaundice, and the skin infection. It has antibacterial properties too. Dawa or dhava axlewood, it is also called as gatti tree. This plant is valuable as fodder, fuel, timber, and medicinal plant. It is one of the secondary wood plant for tropical tussar silkworm. The gum, designated as gatti gum, obtained from the plant has several applications, including the medicinal values. The plant is extensively used in the country for treating several human as well as the veterinary ailments. Moreover, the stem or the wood of the plant is used in several construction activities. Ashwakarna, Kakuba, Bilva, Tinduka, Patala, Bhadari are the different other kinds of trees and plants that we could find in Dandakaranya. I am just naming a few over here. The next stop for Rama was Panchavati, and this Panchavati is where Sita was abducted. It is situated on the banks of the river Godavari. There was a forested plain called Samam, which comprised of fruit yielding, flowery, aromatic, and hardwood trees. The commonly found tree species in this place was the sal tree, Palmyra palm, Tamala, which is also called as West Indian bay tree, date palms, jackfruit, Punnaga or Alexandrian laurel, sweet mango, Ashoka, Tilaka, that is sesame, Ketaka, that is screw pine, Champaka, sandalwood, Nipa, that is burr flower, Lakucha, that is monkey jack, Dhava, that is axlewood, Ashwakarana, that is Gurjan balsam, Kadira acacia, Shami, Indian mosquito, Kimsuka, flame of the forest, and Patala, the trumpet tree. And this area was so abundant with sacred holy basil and the aquatic lotus. The presence of cereals in this region was barley, wheat, and sali rice, that is the winter rice. These were the things that is mentioned in the epic. The Ashwakarana, the Indian Gurjan bark, is used in treating abscess, urinary tract infections, and also the hearing disorders. And this oil called Gurjan Balsam oil is used for skin disorders. Natural products extracted from this fruit of date palm tree also has shown to possess many health promoting properties such as anti-inflammatory, antifungal, antioxidant, and anti-tumor effects. Punnaga is a large evergreen commonly called Alexandrian laurel or a bell tree. It is a small, branching, and slow growing with broad and irregular crown in Ayurveda. It is mentioned this name because it has several medicinal purposes. And we can find references about this in Nigandu and Samhitas in the modern taxonomy. Punnaga is one among the important drug that is being used in Ayurveda for Rakta Pitta, Raktati Sara, and etc. The flower of Punnaga is sacred to Lord Vishnu and it forms his garland. It is a very fragrant flower. It adorns the hair of the goddess Lalitambika in the Lalita Sahasranama. The other names given to this are Sugandhi Pushpa because it is the flower having a very good smell, Dirghamula because it has a very long root, Deva Vallabha because it is a beautiful flower which is liked by the god, Pita Kesara because it has yellow colored stamens, Tunga because it is seen in the Himalayan regions, Vibhuddha because it has an expanded flower, Rakta Kesara because also it has red colored stamens, Kanjana gold colored flowers, Punnaga because Pum Kesara Yukta Pushpa which is liked by the Naga. The leaves of Punnaga are useful in chickenpox, scabies, the sunburn, the skin inflammation, postnatal lactation. The folklore uses this decoction of these flowers and is given to cure for eczema and insanity. Netra Roga, that is infusion of Punnaga leaves for curing corneal opacity. Kushna, its oil is applied externally in the skin disorder. Another tree that is found in this place is sandalwood. Sandalwood tree, also called as Santalam album or Sweta Chandana, known as Sri Gandha in the Ayurveda. It is one of the oldest and most precious sources of natural fragrance with immense medicinal and commercial significance. Sandalwood tea helps in managing the liver and gallbladder problems due to its hepatoprotective property. Its oil has various benefits for the skin. Tropical application of sandalwood oil on the face helps the skin cell growth. Generally, it is considered as the best remedy for headaches when applied in the form of paste or oil. Inhalation of sandalwood oil also helps to manage respiratory infections that work by reducing the inflammation in the lung airways due to its anti-inflammatory property. Sandalwood tree has antipyretic property. It lowers the body temperature and thus reduces the fever. The scent is so popular that it is definitely a wanted choice, a most demanding choice for the perfume and aroma therapies. Aromatic oils are used to promote mental and physical health outcomes. And many ancient cultures have practiced this aroma therapy. Champaka flowers are the most powerful fragrant blossoms of the Magnolia family, which is native to Southeast Asia. This tree shrub produces a complex citrus aroma owing to its delicate and seductive fragrance and is widely used in aromatherapy to soothe, to calm, and relax the mind and the body. The calming floral notes help relax the mind and uplift the mood. Thus, Champaka is used as a stress relieving herb that slackens the visual signs of the stress. It is often infused with the nourishing oils to further enhance its antioxidant properties, which deeply moisturize and rejuvenate the skin cells to restore the youthful and a complexion glowing skin. Shami tree is also found in this place and it is considered as Kalpataru of the Thar desert in the Mahabharata. It is mentioned that god of fire Agni hid in this heart of Shami tree to escape the wrath of Bhrigu Maharshi. Shami tree also represents the goddess Durga. In the Mahabharata, when the Pandavas had to spend 1 year in incognito as a part of their 14 years of exile, they hid their weapons in the Shami tree. And after 1 year, when they came back, they found their weapons intact in this tree. The Pandavas took the weapons from the tree, worshipped it, seeking power and victory, and ensuing the battle with the Kauravas. In the battle, Pandavas emerged victorious. So it is a belief that those who worship the Shami tree are blessed with victory and prosperity. In the Ramayana too, when Lord Rama was marching towards Lanka, the Shami tree is said to have told Rama that he would be victorious. The twig of the Shami tree is used for the sacrificial fires. Shami leaves are offered to Lord Ganesha in the 21 Patra Puja. Ayurveda uses Shami tree for treating schizophrenia, a mental disorder, respiratory tract infection, excessive heat, herbs, loose motion, and leukorrhea. Shami has astringent, demulcent, the agent which soothes or provides relief from minor pain that are used in treating several ailments. Shami bark is bitter, acrid, cooling, anti-helminthic. The decoction of the bark is used to treat fever, hypertension, diabetes, and the imbalances of pitta and vata dosha. The bark is used to treat rheumatism and scorpion sting. During the next course of their wanderings in search of Sita, Rama and Lakshmana came across Kabanda, who directed them westwards towards the Pampa Sarovara lake and Kishkinda. This lake lies to the west of the Rishyamukh hill and east of Matanga hill. Even today, these hills are known by their original names. Beyond this hilly forest, there lay another vana, that is the woodland, which in its beauty resembled the celestial gardens of Indra and Kubera. The Pampa Sarovara is situated beyond this place. Presently, it is located in the Bellary district of modern Karnataka state where Pampa Sarovara is situated. The fauna, the flora, and the water sources and their quality and purity are highlighted in this epic. The climate, especially in the month of Chaitra, that is March to April, was exceedingly pleasant, and the vegetation of this region is dry and moist deciduous. This forest comprised several common fruit yielding varieties like jambu, that is the rose apple, which is used in folk medicine for diabetes. It is also used by mouth for gas, that is flatulence, swelling, that is inflammation of the stomach, and also for gastritis. Another tree is Priyala. The Priyala fruit is commonly known as apricot fruit in English. It nourishes the tissue and increases the virility. The epicarp of the apricot aggravates the pitta dosha. Priyala is also called chironji oil and is applied on hair to relieve the grey hairs. It mitigates the vata effectively. Banyan, Plaksha, that is Indian fig, Panasa, that is jackfruit, Pipala, Amra, that is mango. And here the mango's fragrant flowers were added to food to make the food delicacies. And the wood of it was used to make the weapons of war. The other trees like Rakta Chandana, that is red sandal, Naga Kesari, that is ironwood tree, Tilaka, red food, Natta Malaka, Indian beech, blue Ashoka, Mandhara, Kadamba, Karavira, Agnimukhya, Tinduka, Dhava, Bakula, all these plants could be seen in this place. The bakula, which is also called as Indian medlar, was used for constructing bridges. Champaka, Ketaki, Sindhuvara. Sindhuvara is the five-leaf chaste tree. Lodra, that is Asiatic sweet leaf. Uddhalaka, that is bird lime tree. Sirisa, that is women's tongue. Syandana, Sandan. So many such trees can be seen here. There was also a luxuriant vana, the forest, which resembled those in heaven. Full-blown lotuses, lilies, padmaka, that is Himalayan wild cherry, added to the beauty of the lakes that were there. Flowering creepers like Malti, that is Rangoon creeper, Mallika, Arabian jasmine, Vasanti and Madhavi, the helicopter flower, the hiptage, entwined themselves around the trees. The beauty of the flower forest was further enhanced by the presence of trees like Kimsuka, that is the flame of the forest, Ankola, that is sage leaf, algium, Kuranta, that is porcupine flower, Paribhadraka, that is Indian coral trees, mountain ebony, cork-leaved bayer, and Arjuna trees. Next comes the region, the Himalayan alpine region. And this is a vast tract of territory said to be located between the two mountains, Kailasha and Rishabha. The area is supposed to have covered thousands of yojanas, which is mentioned in Yuddha Kanda. Kailasha is situated beyond the Trans-Himalayan region. This is confirmed by the reference to Hanuman's crossing the Himalayas to reach the Kailasa. There are three jointed mountains in the Trans-Himalayan region, namely Kailasa, Rishabha, and Mahodhya, that is Aushadhi mountain, which is again mentioned in the Yuddha Kanda. This mountain had a thick growth of forest on the southern side where the main plants having curative properties were found. These have been described as glowing and aromatic plants. The whole area was suffused with aromatic, pleasant aroma. Valmiki has given importance to this Aushadhi peak since it was the home of several medicinal plants. It is also mentioned in the epic that during the battle between Ravana's army and Rama's army, Lakshmana was wounded and fell unconscious. As suggested by the physician Sushena, Hanuman rushed to Dronagiri hills to fetch four plants. Mrita Sanjeevani, which is the plant which is capable of restoring the dead to life. Vishalya Karani, that is capable of extracting the weapons and healing all the wounds inflicted by the weapons. Suvarna Karani, restoring the body to its original complexion. And Sandhani, the great herb, capable of joining several limbed or fractured bone. The two main characteristics of the Lankan forest are the natural and naturalized forest. The natural forest comprise mainly subforest. The other features of natural forest are rock plants, sufficient water sources, and their biodiversity. The forest plants are also given an important place in the narrative of the Lankan dense green wood. Some of the plants which may be mentioned are Sarala Karanikara, that is baywood tree, Karjura wild date palm, Priyala, that is almond tree, Mukulinda, Kutaja, Ketaki, Priyangu, Nipha, Saptachada, that is Indian devil tree, Asana, that is Indian kino, mountain ebony, and Karavira, that is oleander. The naturalized forest is best described in the graphic account of the Ashokavana, which is named after a principal plant, the Ashoka. It is naturalized evergreen forest and hence it possesses all the characteristics of a forest ecosystem. In the layout of this naturalized forest, large open spaces, that is Bhumi Bhaga, occupy a very important place. Biodiversity excels in the propagation and acclimatization of various plants comprising of the following. Varieties of Ashoka of different colors, that is golden, fiery, red, dark, colored, blue, neela, that is, and skin color. Champaka, sandalwood, Bakula, Bhavya, that is neem, Nagakesara, that is ironwood tree, sal tree, Indian cherry are mentioned apart from all types of seasonal fruits, flowers, and mango groves. Kalpa Vruksha, which is excellent in fragrance, and the continuous oozing of juice from them is described as entwined with hundreds of creeping plants. The lily forest, which covers the entire water surface. The evergreen Ashokavana, which is described as garden, where nature has portrayed all its glory. The forest department in various parts of India have excelled in planting these types of nature gardens. In these forest gardens, generally the vegetable compositions are both native as well as exotic. According to Ramayana, there were several types of sacred trees. The Ratya Vriksha, that is the roadside trees, and the Devata Nishtana Vriksha, that is the trees which were considered as the abodes of deities. These were further divided into Yaksha Chaitya, that is Yaksha's tree shrine, and Vriksha Chaitya, that is the tree shrine. There were also Chaturpata Varti Vriksha, that is tree at the junction of crossroads with revetments around its trunk, and Smashana Vriksha, the tree raised on the burning ghats. In the Yuddha Kanda, one can find a chapter devoted for Aushadhi Parvata, which means mountain of medicines. Similar to this, Kanchan Parvata and Mount Kailas can also be mentioned. The Aushadhi Parvata contained four important life resuscitating herbs called Sanjeevani, which Hanuman brought to Lanka when Lakshmana was injured. He did so based on the advice of the royal physician Sushena, and Sushena asked Hanuman to rush to Dronagiri hills of Himalayas and fetch four plants. One plant was Mrita Sanjeevani, which we already said. This is in simple way to explain this. It can be called as a herb which is the restorer of life. Vishalya Karani, remover of the arrows. This is also used to control bleeding from open wounds and blood clotting. And this herb also has a detoxifying effect on the body, having antiseptic, antifungal, and antimicrobial properties. Sandhana Karani is the restorer of the skin, and Savarnya Karani is the restorer of the skin color. And this has been mentioned in Srimad Valmiki Ramayana in the 74th chapter, Yuddha Kanda, between the shlokas 29 to 34. Of the four plants, Mrita Sanjeevani, or simply to call as Sanjeevani, the most important different kinds of plants that has been pointed out as its what family is Selegilna Bryopteris, which is important since it is also believed to bring one from near death back to life. Only through the smell it can save many lives, which it had done during Ramayana, saving the lives of both Rama and Lakshmana. not only them, but also the lives of monkeys who were badly wounded and who were almost dead. Just smelling this started revitalizing the system. So hence this herb is known as a revitalizing medicinal herb. Lakshmana gained consciousness because of this herb. And this herb is treated as a majestic herb because it has a capability of resurrecting the life. Recent research claims Soceria gossipiflora Pleurospermum candeli has Mrita Sanjeevani. Several other plants are also identified and has been considered as affirmable candidates for the Sanjeevani plants. They are Selegilla bryopteris, Dendrobium plictale, Cressa cretica, Rhodiola rosea. Sanjeevani means that offers life, that which offers life. Sanjeevani Booty means it is a group of magical herbs, those which have the power of revival and cure for any malady. And according to Hindu mythology, it is believed that medicines prepared from these herbs could revive a dead person. Sanjeevani are mythical herbs. Their identity, their existence is still controversial. The popular name Sanjeevani translates as one that infuses life and derives from a plant that appears in Ramayana. The botanical identity of the plant described in Ramayana is unclear, though Selegnella bryopteris has been suggested as the Sanjeevani candidate. The other plants, Dendrobium plictale, Cressa cretica, a species of flowering plants of a morning glory family, is also identified. And this has been used in traditional medicine, and research has demonstrated that it definitely has some therapeutic effects. According to the Unani system of medicine, this plant has a sour, bad taste. The leaves are tonic, aphrodisiac, improves the appetite. The plant is reputed to be anti-helminthic and expectorant and aid to digestion and aphrodisiac and to have tonic properties, and contains a number of chemical constituents that has some potential as an antibacterial, antifungal, antitussive agent. It is also found to be effective as an anti-cancer treatment. These above mentioned whatever herbs that we mentioned as of now, has the ability to cure unconsciousness, cerebral disorders, respiratory problems, body pains, and the other problems. And these plants were used by the local people to treat many diseases. But the problem is that they don't give all the information regarding their therapeutic benefits to avoid the exploitation of the herbs. So there are a lot of plants that has been treated as a substitute of Sanjeevani booty, and there are a lot of researches also that has been done in this field. So since the Aryan race were using plants as cures, the sanctity of the plants described in the sojourn of the Lord Rama's travel hold a very special meaning in Ayurveda. It cannot be doubted that every plant had its own use, how, when, and where to use. It was quite well known to those old ancient people, the rishis, who always acted as a medicinal practitioners. They were aware of the etiology and premonitory, specific, and supervening symptoms, general treatment, common formulations of crude drugs, type of food that has to be given during the disease and its effect. In the Ramayana, many trees are also termed as equivalent to Amrit. As per traditional Sanskrit literature, Amrit was a kind of medicine which can make a person immortal. In the 73rd Sarga of Aranyakanda, sage Matangava's suggestion to have the fruits of 21 kinds of particular herbs, floras, were treated as amrits, and they are as follows. Arjuna tree, this tree is mentioned in Kishkinda Kanda of Ramayana, and its botanical name is Terminalia arjuna, which is cultivated all over India and is generally used in gynecological problems. Agni-mukha, it is an Indian name. It is also called as Bilava. It is mentioned in the Aranya Kanda of the epic and generally found in the outer Himalayas. Bilva in Ayurveda, Bhava Prakasha, they state this fruit has bitter, dry, and promotes digestive fruit, and this enables to overcome Vata, Sleshma, and promotes strength. Nigantu Ratnakara has recorded that this fruit cures diarrhea, fever, and is useful in Tridosha, vomiting, and difficult micturition. Saptaparna, in Ayurveda, Charaka states that this drug cures leprosy. Rajani Gantu records that it cures ulcer, asthma, and has anti-tumor action and destroys parasites. Decoction of this bark with pepper is useful for intermittent fevers. Lapucha in Ayurveda, these seeds are seen as purgative. Bark powder applied on sores expels the worms, and the fruit chewed acts as a substitute for betel nuts. Bandira in Ayurveda, the root is used for hemicrania and the bark is bitter, cooling, and it cures vata, diseases of blood, skin diseases, and inflammation. The leaves are useful for ophthalmia in night, for that is in the night blindness. Flowers given in asthma, seeds, which is aphrodisiac, is acting as a tonic to the brain. Panasa, the leaves are used in skin disease, roots used internally in diarrhea, the sap of the plant applied to glandular swellings, and the ripe fruit acts as a laxative. Similarly, there are many plants like kadamba, which is used for has a tonic, because of its anti-astringent qualities. It is used for bowel disorders and it is used for vata imbalances. Kadira, that is kata, it is also regarded as an astringent, cooling, and digestive, and useful in the relaxed conditions of throat, mouth, and gums. Useful for cough and diarrhea. Bojpatra, Palasha, Dartiphala, Narikela, Dharba, Paribhadraka, Jambu, Ashwata, Maduka. Many such plants are seen as Amrita in the Ramayana. Even the Manjushta, where Manjushta roots are sweet, acrid, and antipyretic, it has analgesic qualities. It improves the voice and complexion. It cures the kapha inflammations, the diseases of the uterus, and so on. In conclusion, I would like to say that our epics are not only an inspiration for a social model, but also inspires us with them the existing, the rich ecosystem. By reading epics and understanding the storyline, not just the storyline, we also understand the importance of how our ancestors and all those characters of the epics used to give so much importance for the plant life as well. And it teaches us how a plant plays a very critical role in the development of human cultures around the world. It also makes us understand that plant is an important source of medicine and it plays a key role in the world health system. The medicinal plants are not only used for the treatment of diseases, but also it is a very potential material for maintaining good health and conditions. Many countries in the world, that is almost two-thirds of the world's population, depends on herbal medicine for the primary health care. The reasons for this is because of their better cultural acceptability, better compatibility, and adaptability with the human body, and they also pose the lesser side effects. Herbal medicines has proved to be the major remedy in the traditional system of our medicine. And about 90% of the herbs and the medicinal plants in India are collected from the forest. Chemically prepared drugs may act quickly, but they also have side effects which affects the human body negatively in the long run. Whereas medicinal plants work in an integrated or probiotic with little or no adverse effects on the body. The development of human culture, the use of medicinal plants, has had magical religious significance and the different points of view regarding the concepts of health and disease which existed within each culture. Plants have provided humans with many of their essential needs, including life saving pharmaceutical agents. However, medicinal plants are threatened as a result of human impact and uncontrolled wild collection. So, it is therefore recommended that deliberate efforts towards domestication and cultivation are essential for continuous supply of these plant species. In addition to the requirement of conservation of medicinal plants, it has also become essential to protect and patent the traditional knowledge. I thank the organizers of Yoga Ramayana Vishwakosha History celebrating the glory of Ramayana in this 108 days webinar for giving me an opportunity to bring out the medicinal plants and herbs information from Ramayana and its utilization through our traditional medicinal systems like Ayurveda. So I thank you for this opportunity and thank you very much. Dhanyavada.
Thank you, Divyaji, for your patience and time and depicting on medicinal plants in Ramayana today. Namaste.